At the risk of telling a sappy story, I want to talk to you about the day Allison and I got married. A day where I experienced multiple spiritual moments, a sense of oneness with the world, not least of which the moment when my soon-to-be wife Allison and I saw each other for the first time that day. Allison and I spent the night apart. After getting ready in our respective rooms, we each had a traditional tish. It's a Jewish ritual, a special tradition where the wedding couple each gather with their family and friends, only to be sung and danced towards each other and to see each other for the first time on the wedding day. Hi. We held our wedding at a summer camp in upstate New York, just before the camp season, with its lush green landscape and a shimmering lake. And Allison and I saw each other for the first time that day from across a small stream that led into the lake, she with her family on one side of the stream and me on the other with mine. We each walked toward the small wooden bridge above the stream, finding each other on that bridge. It was a bridge to our past, and it was a bridge to our future. We were both so fully present, the tears were streaming down our faces as our family and friends looked on in simcha, in celebration. We shared a moment of true oneness, where the beauty of creation that surrounded us and all the individual and collective hopes became one. Our beloved wedding officiant, Arthur Kurzweil, whom we met only moments later under our wedding canopy, the chuppah, told us that when we marry, we're actually in a love triangle. It is each of us and God who are getting married. I can say that in the moment on that bridge, that oneness triangle was truly palpable, as one with our shared love and the cosmos. Family and friends still talk about that special moment on the bridge to this day. Every week in our tradition, we read from the Torah, and we read a section of the Torah sequentially from beginning to end throughout the year. In last week's Torah portion, Vayetchanan, we read the opening line and the first paragraph of the Shema, the prayer traditionally recited twice daily, the most sacred Jewish prayer. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Yud-He Vav-He. Adonai is our God, Yud-He Vav-He, Adonai is one. The words I just sang come next. Love God with all your heart and soul and with all that you have. Take these words that God is one seriously. Teach them to your children. Say them when you are at home and away, when you go to sleep and when you wake up. Make reminders of this oneness all around you and on you and in your homes and in your communities. Essentially, the Shema is a statement on love and oneness from Deuteronomy. But it is not simply a statement on the idea of love as an idea. It is about a relationship of love. We are commanded to love God. And not only that, the rabbis surround the prayer, the Shema prayer, with other prayers, reminding us that God loves us first. As Rabbi Ethan Tucker writes in his book, Judaism is about love. Judaism is fundamentally about relationships, and the Shema is not merely a meditation on love, it is an invitation into a covenant, a relationship of love between God and the people, a relationship that is renewed every day through devotion and memory and spiritual practice. The rabbis believed that the essence of oneness is love. So much so that they included another prayer on love immediately before the Shema called Ahava Rabbah. With an abundant love, God has loved you. For they believed God is love. God is love. Everything in the cosmos and beyond and within is love. Maybe you've been to the shop and you've picked up one of those Dr. Bronner's famous soap bottles. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Where am I going with this? Reverend Becca, where am I going? Anybody seen these? They're great. Anyways, great soap. This is not an advertisement for them. But they're filled with these phrases. And it's a very spiritual person, Dr. Bronner. And so on the bottle, you'll see phrases like, all one God faith, and we're all one or none, and how to love, for God is love. However, and there is a big however. In Judaism, we say on the one hand and on the other hand. You've seen Fiddler, you know. While the first paragraph of the Shema is found in last week's Torah portion, and as Judith Hauptman, professor emerita of the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York, wrote in her piece, Is Love Enough? She writes, the first paragraph of the Shema is very upbeat. But in this week's Torah portion, Ekev, we have what the rabbis chose as the second paragraph of the Shema, Deuteronomy 11, 13 to 21, and a seemingly very similar but radically different command. V'haya im shamoa, if you hear and obey the commandments that I enjoin upon you this day, to love and serve God with all your heart and all your soul, we've heard this before, I will grant you the rain for your land in its season. You will gather in your new grain and wine and oil, and I will provide grass in the fields for your cattle, and thus you shall eat your fill. Also not an advertisement, but then the Torah takes a turn from this, if you obey, then you will be blessed, to Hishamru. Hishamru lachem, pen yifteh levavchem. Take care not to be lured away to serve other gods and bow to them. And it gets even harsher. V'chara af Adonai bachem, for God's anger will flare up against you, shutting up the skies so that there will be no rain, and the ground will not yield its produce, and you will soon perish from the good land that God is assigning to you. But then, like a love sandwich, the Torah returns to its nicer tone, where the passage concludes with those familiar words, impress upon your heart, bind them as a sign upon your hand, and let them serve as a symbol upon your forehead, and teach them to your children, and so on. As Judith Hauptman wrote regarding this passage, if the people abandon God, catastrophe will result. The rains will not come, the crops will not grow, and people will perish from the good land to which God brought them. There's a live debate in the Jewish world about whether to include the second paragraph of the Shema in our daily prayers. The conservative and Orthodox movements keep the words in. The Reform movement generally takes it out. The Reconstructionist movement was set to remove the words of the second paragraph when one of my teachers, Rabbi Art Green, implored them not to, basing his case on how much this passage has to teach us for the 21st century. The essential teaching is this: follow falsehoods, and there will be consequences. Follow false love, and you will not have love at all. Worship something other than oneness, and the relationship you sought to build will unravel. While the first paragraph of the Shema is a beautiful vision of love, as beautiful as our wedding day on the bridge overlooking the shimmering lake, the second paragraph is a reminder of which the Shema reminds us we desperately need reminders of what happens when love goes astray. Here's what I don't believe. I don't believe in a God that gets angry and that is a terror that punishes us. God forbid. Instead, God is the natural law of love in our hearts and on these lands. So the second paragraph of the Shema reminds us, if you do not treat your spouse with respect and decency and love, your love will wither and die. Relationships require tending. Love is not merely something we feel, it is something we practice. It is love in action. The words also make clear that if you do not treat this earth with love as God intended, then there will be consequences where God will close up the sky so that there will be no rain, and we have to look no further than this summer's scorching heat and raging fires and smoke across Europe and Canada and elsewhere. If you love appropriately, love will pervade existence. If you do not love, or you seek to love falsely without care or covenant, decay will pervade existence. 17 years of marriage later, 19 years of love, I have learned that not all moments are like the one. Why are you laughing? Maybe you understand. When I first saw my beloved on the bridge, halavai, would that all moments could feel like that. But all, or at least most of us, I'm not going to speak for Todd, maybe he's there, but we don't feel that immense sense of wonder and oneness at every moment. Not with our spouses, not with our children, our neighbors, our friends, not when we order a coffee or when we're paying the bills, certainly, at least for me, not in our politics. Yet I have experienced, and with a full heart, bechol levavchem, that love pervades existence, that all of existence is one and all is love. There are moments, maybe you have felt this, I pray that you have felt this, true focus that helps us to see the loving reality that is. And there are many moments where we can cultivate a greater sense of that oneness, whether reciting the Shema twice a day, meditating on our interconnections with each other and the world, walking among God's creation in the forests of Vermont. However, much of our human existence is spent stumbling to stay focused on the true reality that all is love. We stray from the path. We lead ourselves and each other astray. And so we are reminded to be ever mindful of the ways we forget that all is one and that all is love. It is a call to keep our words and actions as impeccably pure as we possibly can. For if God, the divinity within us and surrounding us at all times, is love, then we must pursue that love at all times. That is holiness, even in the mundane times, and perhaps especially in the difficult times in our lives. I want to share one more thing before concluding. Our civil rights trip to the South was an incredible reminder that there are deep consequences when we do not love all of existence as God intended, if we do not love that oneness. Those who had the distinct privilege of traveling south, something that I hope we'll do again with our congregations. That was an advertisement. We also bore witness to all those faithful servants of God who, despite the hate and terror thrown at them, they were able to so clearly and so effectively grab a hold of love of each other and love of all of creation, and move us closer to the true oneness of all of God's creatures. So may our prayers remind us to keep returning to the bridge, to the place where we remember who we are, whose we are, and the covenant of love that calls us back to God, to one another, and to this sacred world with all of our hearts, all of our souls, and with all that is within us. Amen.